you on a surface?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
Buongiorno, Bianconeri. Welcome back to the channel. What an intro. And getting in here right on, just cutting it tight here. Just get in there.
Right on the
Pretty
money.
funny watching all that unfold
No prep
in the
work.
green room. New intro. Everybody, what do you
Love
guys
it.
think of the new intro? Not bad, not bad. Thank you to RB Comps, our boy, getting that done for us. Got the outro done. That's been going out on daily update videos as well. We always love and appreciate when subscribers and friends start to contribute and want to help the channel grow and everything. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Anthony, recognize a great intro. Thank you. Jeremiah coming in here. Hey guys, really hope we go on the offensive today. Even Moji criticized Max on his style of play. Come on, Rabiot, I need that kit. His bet with Lou. Yes. We're gonna get into definitely Moji's words. We're gonna get into the theme yesterday, which we couldn't have put a new line out for Striped Hearts Apparel, our merch store tied to YouTube, which was Amici di Nessuno. Okay. So that couldn't be themed any better and planned any better. Thank you to everybody who's made that a successful launch already so far. For those of you that haven't seen it, check it out on our merch store. It's great stuff. But that seemed to be the common theme yesterday. Today we have the Salernitana match, but yesterday was riddled with more anti-Juve propaganda. And we will kick it off with essentially the ultras from Fiorentina basically coming out encouraging everyone, supporters of Fiorentina, not to get tickets, coming out with statements like essentially dirty club, and we won't work under, or we won't subside to these conditions or whatever. And just again, it's just constant nonsense from Fiorentina. It's always been Fiorentina, this big thing with Juventus, like as if we're rivals, and we really are farthest things from rivals with Fiorentina. But that kind of sparked things and whatnot. I found that funny and didn't care whatsoever about Fiorentina or their ultras. Did you guys on the same wavelength there? Who gives a shit about them?
By the way, you're welcome for $120 million and not going bankrupt. You're welcome.
Exactly.
And come on. And the issue, the issue is that they have to. The main issue, I believe, is that. Sorry, I literally I came in the intro, so I didn't prep anything. Desk. Do I sound okay? Am I in a fishbowl again?
No, you sound good.
I have a sore throat, so all right. So the issue is that they have to buy tickets through the Juventus website. So they have to register their tickets. And I think you might need like a photo ID of some sort. So, buying tickets the 2023 way is just, to them is asinine. Why would I do something modern over there? It's wild.
Yeah. And again,
who cares? Don't come. It's better for us.
Then don't go. That's it, Omer. Just don't even go.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Moji, Jeremiah mentioned Moji even criticizing Max's play and whatnot. Moji was on a Twitter Spaces yesterday, and it was part Arabic, part Italian. I tuned in live. They were having difficulties getting Moji actually on, and it was about 25 minutes maybe beyond when he was supposed to come on, but they finally did manage to get him on. And he spoke a bit about everything. Now, he did reiterate some parts that we're not going to get into, and that was essentially what happened with him, and now another investigation for Juventus, just basically him coming down to greet Pesotto. So we're not going to reiterate or rehash out that he's already spoken on multiple times, but we're going to take a look at this. And it's just he basically said that the JP Morgan rumors are not true. So he did say that Juventus are looking for a partner that would enable them to have funds for a strong mercado in the summer and everything like that. But he says the rumors with JP Morgan are not true.
That's an interesting one Because is it JP Morgan? I never heard JP Morgan with Juventus. I heard JP Morgan with Serie A.
Well, JP Morgan was originally linked with Super League and was going to be the one backing that entire project. Then, as of 3 weeks ago, JP Morgan was brought in as potentially going to take help and spark with Serie A. John Elkann is on the international board for international council, for JP Morgan. So you can see that link with Juve. However, it's also growing more and more steam that John Elkann is looking to sell. So it's all over the place. But as per Moji, they are not. JP Morgan is not going to be coming in for Juve. So again, wait and see what happens. But as per him, that's what he says.
He said an Italian partner. It'd be more likely to be an Italian partner.
We'll see.
Ferrari?
There is no way Juventus would get relegated to Serie B. I'd expect him to say that, but again, we have to look at those involved and those in charge of everything, all right? But he says the current issue is financial and not sportive. Hey, you don't need to tell me, Luciano, okay? You don't need to tell me that, Lucky Luke. I've been screaming that from the rooftops. But again, we expect him to say that. He did continue on, and we get to some of the criticisms and whatnot. But in terms of Max Allegri, first and foremost, he did say that if Juventus makes it into the Champions League, that Allegri's next 2 years on his contract are for sure. It's essentially coming down to European play, and we've known that as well. So it's nothing new here, and everybody getting fired up over social media and what he's saying and whatnot. We've known that. We've known that there is a mutual break of contract that can take place should Juventus not qualify for Champions League. The interesting thing is that could this point deduction be a loophole in terms of his contract and whatnot, because that's kind of out of control. So there's a whole lot of legalities and things like that. But again, you'll have to wait for that to unfold.
I feel like every once in a while someone brings up some bad, transfers or actions in the market we did, and everyone flips out. But it's nothing new. It's basically all the same.
No, nothing new. And the same thing with this next statement, which is Allegri is the man at Juventus right now, because other than him, everybody else on the management doesn't know much about football. They're mainly there to take care of finances right now. This one struck a chord with everybody, and people were getting fired up. Look, we've said it a million times. The new people that have been brought in are just the board of directors. We don't have a management team. So he's right in saying literally Max Allegri right now is the only one. If you look further down the line, you could talk about Pessotto. You could talk about these guys that are somewhat involved, more working with the younger guys and everything. Sure, they know and whatnot, but we still don't have an actual management team. That's all Moji is saying, is that right now at senior level, it's Max, and then it's board of directors who are lawyers, accountants, and whatnot.
Well, hang on. We do have like Luca says, we don't have a sporting director. We do. It's an interim individual who was promoted from within. So it's like we do. There's someone sitting at the desk, but they're just waiting for Kedabini to come back.
Let's just stop on that for
He's not making any calls.
Correct.
Our transfer market was completely frozen other than one outgoing deal, which didn't need anybody to pull the trigger on. It was like there wanted to go too. So it's like we're making this happen.
There are people in seats, but they're just not as experienced as Max. He has a support system, but realistically, Max is the only one there.
But they're not making any calls. We don't need a sporting director until the summer, and it's not going to be those guys. Correct. I'll tell you that right now. So
that's correct.
Yeah,
in truth, Moji's saying is right.
Correct.
Yeah, let's not forget all the guys we're linked with for sporting director currently have a job, and it's the middle of the season, and it's not Juve's main problem right now. So what they're doing is addressing the main issue, which is off the field and on court. And So nothing will happen before the end of the season. Gentoli, Massara, everyone except from the interim guys that we have, we won't have any sporting director until the season ends.
Well,
It's
100% agree. Yeah.
it's fairly irregular. I mean,
Mhm.
this is what we have to do right now.
Oh yeah. It's I don't know. Well, we just
You
have to
won't
wait and see what's
try
happening.
anyone
But these
for
guys
this
aren't
season.
going to be the guys. They're interns. They're just sitting there like come summer. And we were told late in the season we should have the new management team named because they're waiting to see what the outcome of all this nonsense is and what
March.
happens there, right?
Won't know
Allegri,
anything till
this is
March.
from Moji as well, is not appreciated by Juve fans in Italy as well. Spoke to him many times. The game versus Monza is an example. A big team doesn't wait for the other team to attack. They attack first. In Moji's words, that's his problem. That's always his game plan. To which I think we know where the majority of fans stood on that particular comment. But again, Moji not shying away from words. I will tell you this. Big respect and props to those guys that got Moji on there and doing that show. But man, I have so many follow-up questions that would have arose based on what he was saying that I feel really should have been taken advantage of. But I don't know the details. I don't know if going into that thing, they had set something up where he's like, only going to touch on this, and this, can't dive deeper than that. I don't know the details, but all I was left after there is probably a list of about, 25 follow-up questions that I had for Moji. And I'm still left like looking for
Let's
those
get him on
answers.
here.
But overall, it was pretty good. And he just said everything we already know. So again, it's always cool to hear from him and whatnot. I like hearing from these people that were tied to some of the strong clubs in the past and whatnot. And Moji, I mean, everybody knows the work he did. I like hearing from them in terms of how they see this new club. And I probably would have steered it more towards that. Like, what's a big difference? Like, when you look at molding your team and whatnot, what do you think's missing with this team? Like, are they missing the character signings? Like, is it too marked? Like, I'd like to pick his brain on the overall the work that's being done there and whatnot.
It does feel like he's getting a bit more involved with Juve in the past year, a bit more and more, which is interesting because he's practically forbidden.
And this brings me to the next question, which I was going to ask you guys, because somebody brought it up and said, I feel like, and this is not me saying it, but I feel like Juve needs to distance themselves from Moji. And we saw him speak at the shareholders meeting when Agnelli gave his goodbyes and everything. Moji went out there and it was like a rally cry almost, getting the troops banded together for the fight or whatnot. But should Juve be distancing themselves from a guy who's got a lifetime ban and whatnot, especially during these times? So somebody brought that up and I sat there and thought about it because I did like everything he said at that shareholders meeting and I agreed with him completely. Yesterday, in brief, it started off basically with comparisons from 2006 Calciopoli to now. And he said flat out, there's a big difference. In 2006, we did absolutely nothing. All the everything was invented. And he said now it's financial. He's like, and there is plusvalenza involved. But then he did reiterate that plusvalenza happens everywhere and it is completely essential. And half the clubs would be bankrupt if not for it. He's like, but yes, there is plusvalenza happening and capital gains happening. That's what teams have to do. But what do you guys think? Should we distance ourselves from Moji?
We're treading, dangerous waters here. Like, the guy has a lifetime ban. All eyes, wiretaps, everything is on Juve right now. And yeah, I feel we might be in dangerous grounds here. Like, the guy has a lifetime ban. It's not going to be reversed. And him sitting at the shareholders meeting and attending matches of the youth sector and stuff, it's dangerous. I mean, you can use him. There are loopholes. Nothing stopping him from talking with Allegri over the phone, giving him advices. Just you don't have to pay him, need to not pay him a salary in order for it not to be job. But Italy is Italy. Everyone has their eyes on Juve right now, and it feels a bit dangerous and tricky and could work out not in our favor. The guy is a football brain that is not parallel in Italy. What he has achieved is nothing short of amazing. But what Juve doesn't need right now is more controversy off the field.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. Again, I agree. He can't be around the club legally, but if Juventus ever needed a cheerleader outside of the club, he's the guy to do it, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are some conversations, or if there was a conversation to say, hey, Juventus saying, hey, you do you, just make sure you don't, break any of the rules of your band or whatever. But I think for Juventus, I know there's some Juventus fans out there that think, oh, this guy is, we could be getting in trouble. But no, I think it's something that Juventus needs right now. I don't know. I'm still on the fence if I agree with it or not, but I think as a cheerleader, he's out there banging those drums for Juventus, though, because there's as many drums banging against Juventus. So you have a big mouth like his, and people just keep sticking microphones in his face. What do you want him to say? People keep wanting to do Twitter spaces.
I'm fine with that. So I'm fine with that. However, it's risky business, and Juventus can't stop Moji from going to a game and being in the stands. But Moji has to realize, especially when you want to go down and greet Pesotto and stuff, this time you know exactly what's coming. And again, a shareholders meeting too, to be in there talking. And if I'm not mistaken, when they did the reunion at the stadium where they had Conte and all these guys from back those days, I'm quite certain Moji was there as well. It's dangerous territory when you're under these circumstances and stuff. And I don't disagree with Anthony at all that this guy is the guy you want out there constantly pushing the other side. But at the same time,
Casanos and stuff.
Yeah, at the same time, there's a line where maybe take it a little easy until things get
but he goes and watch a Primavera match, and he goes down to say hello to somebody, and then he goes back into the stands.
We know that's it, but the problem is Italy. The problem is the media. The problem is what they do. You and I, we know what's up. We know it's not a big deal. He can say that till the end of time. But he's also been on the other side and should know better of what's going to come from that and the aftermath and where Juve currently is. And I know in the grand scheme of things, what's Pesotto going to do? No, man, get the hell away from. Of course, he's not going to ever do that to Moji, but you know that those dipshits are going to take full advantage of that opportunity, and that's what it comes down to. But
and you agreed, Anthony. We're seeing him more and more and hearing about him. Like, we barely heard from him in the past decade, and suddenly in the past 2-3 years, we've been hearing more and more. And he's attending events related to the club. I mean, we're flirting with a dangerous line here, and I would rather we keep our distance a bit for now, at least. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but now it could be dangerous, even though you have Casanos and Zilianis and all those guys who talk shit about Juve nonstop from the minute they wake up till they go to sleep, and Moji bags them all. He's much smarter than all of them, and we need someone to talk in our favor.
Yeah, it's gonna be I don't know, it's gonna be interesting. It's just funny. It's funny how now through all this the connection comes out and seems much closer. Naturally some people are gonna think maybe not the best timing. Maybe not the best time. But
no way it's a coincidence.
In moving forward with more of the anti-Juve agenda that we were starting earlier, you now have Santoriello. Okay, so they brought up this video. This video obviously went viral yesterday, and it was from 2019 at an event at a function. But this is the prosecutor, one of the prosecutors in charge of Prisma case, and literally in 2019 saying, "I hate Juve. I support Napoli, and I'm against the thieves." So when it comes to support, Napoli is important, and when it comes as a prosecutor, I am anti-Juventus. I mean, it's not surprising at all to hear someone in Italy talk like this. What's surprising is the fact that only in Italy they could see something like this not being a conflict of interest. That's the part that's mind-blowing. Now, I think while we tie into this, it's important for us to talk about the Man City investigation that's now come to light with them. So, in Italy, you don't have evidence revealed. Okay? Takes you 10 days. It's not even reasoning or evidence. It's literally just more legal mumbo jumbo that comes out after 10 days. You have a penalty already put forth after an investigation that was dismissed 2 times already. And they proceeded with the investigations after 2 dismissals, which should be against the right to defense of them being prosecuted. In England, Manchester City, 4 years of investigations. 4 years, no punishments. Now we'll be going and working in silence. No media headlines, no nonsense. And now it'll come forth and we will see how, number one, the league acts, how everything, it's just, we are worlds apart in so many facets. And here's yet another one. Your guys' thoughts on, number one, Santorello, and then Man City's and the handling versus Italy.
Omer?
Yes. So Santorello, I mean, like you said, is anyone surprised?
No.
It's just Italy. I'm not surprised if the other judges are Inter fans and Milan fans. Now, someone brought here Marcelo Tamajo, who will examine Juve in Coni in the Court of Appeal. He's also a former Napoli general manager. This is Italy. It's not surprising. And maybe, just maybe, out of all this investigation, when the dust settles, it will show everyone how incompetent, mismanaged, and basically corrupt the Italian sporting judicial system is. Like, they're also risking something here, because a lot of things have come to light in the recent months that for years has been kept silent, and no one has talked about them, no one notices them. So that might actually be in our favor to some degree, that the reason that these guys are just saying stupid shit on all kinds of media platforms, and then someone pulls it up a few years later, might work in our advantage. And even the Minister of Sport of Italy has already addressed it, and everyone has their eyes on that case outside of football in Italy in general. No, Man City, I mean, that's the way it should be handled. That's the way Juve's case should have been handled. Total silence, no nothing. And Man City were already trialed, and you know what basically got them scot-free out of that? They got a few minor fines, which are ridiculous, but wiretaps were acquired illegally. That's what won them the case last time. And, you know, our wiretaps have been all over newspapers, journalists, wherever you want them. Shows a bit more incompetence as well. And Man City, as far as the crime that they've done, I mean, they injected money to themselves from a sponsoring company that is owned by the same owners. So I would say that that's a bit harsh, more so than using plusvalenza to keep your clubs afloat. But Italy is Italy and England is England. We can't expect the same outcomes in both countries.
It should be noted, too, that in England, it's also going to go to an independent panel, which is obviously what you would always hope for, whether in Italy, obviously, we know it is not going to be an independent panel, and that's just another part of it. And anything to add to Santorello and obviously what it looks like
Yeah,
in Man City in England. there.
the Sun Teodoro thing. Obviously, I had the initial reaction similar to everybody else, but the more I think about it, it's and the more you read about this guy, like this guy is a federal prosecutor who goes after the mafia and getting drugs off the street. And this was in 2019. Like this guy isn't he's not a slouch, right? He's a legitimate federal prosecutor who just so happens to not like Juventus. It would be the same as over here, someone not supporting the same NFL team. Like you would hope that your sporting favoritism doesn't bleed into your work life, because it shouldn't. Now, do I have 100% faith in that's happened in Italy? No. But I'm not going to read so much into this. Like, it was sort of like an offhanded joke comment. I get it. I get how people are. It's definitely something that the Juventus lawyers could raise as a conflict of interest. I would assume that they would now present that. Like, I'd be surprised if they didn't.
I would hope.
Right. The other thing here about the Napoli, what was that one here? It was just brought up the Coney Court of Conciliation. Yeah, the guy with the judge hearing it was a former CEO and general manager of Napoli. Okay. What people need to understand is that in Italy, no government has held government for more than 2 years since World War II. It's wild over. Like, governments change, judges change. There's so much turnover in like the political system and the judicial system. It's a mess. Italy is a goddamn mess when it comes to anything. Try and get a building permit. You have a better chance of pushing the Leaning Tower of Pisa back upright than getting anything done through red tape in Italy. It's so stuff like this, just like, you can't let it bother you, because that's just how it is over there. Everything's ass backwards, and people are acting surprised that, oh, there's a video of a guy saying he hates Juventus. Like, what? You're all surprised? Like, this is just how it is. Like, get used to it.
Well,
until the Super League comes, that's what it is.
It's surprising when you live in a country where that's like us going to jury duty, apparently, or like, you're getting summoned for jury duty, and you walk in, there's a woman being put on trial, and me walking. Yeah, I hate all women. Am I going to be biased? You can't just be open about it. So the fact that whether it's 2019 or not, it's still, if you face lawyers are worth a penny, they will use that. Say, obviously, we cannot defend against someone in this frame of mind. It's
you can't do that.
Of interest.
Al, you can't do that. You can't use North American common sense and try and apply it to how Italy works. You can't do that. So shame on you.
But that's why I'm saying, that's why it's shocking to us. Hearing him say that is not surprising. What's shocking is that everybody in that room at the time laughs about it, and they will continue to laugh about it. Yeah. And nobody will see in Italy an issue with having these bodies run a case. It's they see nothing wrong in it. It's wild. Mm-hmm. And then here you have something similar in England, independent panel, completely just handled completely differently. All eyes are going to be on that now. And the fact that it's happening at the same time, again, we're just waiting for Italy to just evolve and just grow and just like figure out all their shortcomings. But it is difficult, and Italy, Luca brings up a great point. As a country right now is napping. So what does that tell you?
100%.
Yeah, and it's not to say that these guys shouldn't have favorite teams and can be sports fans, but I have zero confidence in him making his decision based on facts and evidence. He'll just make it based on what he likes and what he doesn't. Well, I'm absolutely sure, because that's Italy.
And you're right. And that's why it ties into everything. The fact that they've gone already against precedents several times. The fact that it's been dismissed twice, and yet they continue to investigate past, which again goes against the right to defend. There's so much that's going against it that you can't help when you hear these things and everybody's asking the questions. It's not just us. It's not just fans. You have sports lawyers that have been questioned about it, and they're like, I don't understand what's going on. And these guys have studied it and been part of sports law for 40 plus years. It's mind blowing. Anyways, it's going to be interesting for all of us to see what unfolds in both England and Italy. And then we will see what happens. But the prosecutor's words, again, from 2019, but not surprising, just shocking that Italy continues to operate this way and see nothing wrong. Fratesi, the last on the news bit. Fratesi links for the summer. Everybody's saying, well, he wants Roma, blah, blah, blah. Money talks at the end of the day. Money talks. And Fratesi, before actually Roma was even a part of it, had apparently said yes to Juventus. I don't want to talk about Fratesi. I want to ask you guys about the link to Italian players. And does Juve need to reinstill that bond with the Azzurri? How you feel about it? Because, and even on the daily update video comments yesterday, it was great because I saw both sides of it. Some saying, I used to like that close tie to the Azzurri. However, the Azzurri are now failing and whatnot. And I think we do need to look more at foreign talent. And then you have the others that say, I would prefer us to scoop up the talent locally first and foremost. Where do you guys stand on that and the ties to the Azzurri?
Omer?
I like it. I like the ties, especially with the football scenery changing. The players that are most likely to stay and play for Juve, even though some seasons don't go as well, are Italian players. The rest will look for a way out, mostly. Now, when I look at it and I see what we're talking about and the core that is being mentioned, the names of the players, I wish it would have been more diverse, because I've looked at like midfielders and we have like 6, but no players in other positions. And I would like Juve to start, working to get those guys in other positions as well. Because if we're just talking about midfielders, then it's Rovella, Fagioli, Miretti, Ranocchia, Caviglia, add Fratesi to the mix. We're not going to have 6 young Italian midfielders. I would go shopping at Empoli for Parisi maybe as left back. And, guys like that, I wish it would have been more diverse than just midfielders, because surprisingly, our midfield this season has been maybe the least of our problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I just to add on to Omer's thing, I mentioned this a long time ago. We just need to get back to ravaging the Italian youth in Italy. Just buy them all up. Like, just that's what we need to do. Own the talent in Italy first before we start going outside. And I think
I think Ant's cutting out there.
the news came out yesterday where Alien. How's that? Am I back?
I don't know. You're lagging. He's lagging. I'm gonna get to my thoughts on this whole thing. So, for me, it's like it needs to be important for the top clubs in Italy to make sure that those young talents in our own backyard in Italy get the proper grooming that they deserve and they need. Now, saying that the Azzurri are weak now, and that's why we shouldn't be getting the talents, I think a reason the Azzurri are weak now is because the teams haven't done it through the league properly. And I think that's what we're seeing now. You're seeing other teams, other countries, other nations, their players are getting played. They're getting picked up at, and into lineups at 19, whatever. And in Italy, you're seeing less of that. Now you're starting to see it. And even our coaches, Roberto Mancini's coming out and he's saying it. He's saying in Italy, these kids need to be given the opportunity, and they need to be given that opportunity sooner. For me, the top clubs, the 3 big clubs in Italy, have the biggest duty to get that going and always have close ties to the Azzurri. And yes, you're still not going to say no to foreign talent, but another aspect of this is that foreigners aren't picking up young Italians. It's very rare that you're seeing our guys go out there at the same age as all these other guys, because they are not going to take precedence over that local talent over there. So the England players get pumped through. German players will get pumped through there, whatever, like French play, like they're getting pumped through. But Italy, even when you look at those leagues pulling talent abroad, Italy is so low on the scale in comparison to all these other countries. France is doing things a little bit differently with their, obviously their national side. They're getting citizenship from a lot of talents outside. That's kind of different, but
they've always done it.
Yeah,
It's
they've
nothing new
always
to
done
them.
that. And it's smart, to be honest. Very, very smart. And Italy's only done it a couple times, and they have multiple opportunities to do that where they don't. It's okay. But in terms of Italy, for our players not getting that opportunity abroad, it is crucial for us. And if you look at our league, the numbers are there. We have way too many journeymen that are taking minutes from guys that are young that could be getting in there. We, as a league, our average age is pretty big in comparison when you look at, and then you look at the number of youngsters playing versus other leagues. We're a little bit behind the times. For me, it's crucial for Juventus, the Milan sides, to have a link to the Azzurri and to kind of spur that on across the league to get these talents going. We
I
can't miss
partly agree.
in our backyard. That's the thing. Italy can't
I-
afford to miss. We're miles behind these other leagues, especially England, whatnot. We can't afford to be missing talent in our own backyard. And we can't be waiting for these guys to play when they're 23, 24 years old or whatever. Like, we need to get them going and quickly.
Yeah, and I partly agree because we're already losing talent to the Premier League. I mean, Destiny Udogi could have been great for one of the top teams. Skamaka is no longer in the league.
Nonto would have been good for someone in the league.
Nonto would have been great. And all these guys, they play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So they're catching up. The Premier League is understanding Italy are not doing much to keep hold of their youngsters, and they're just shipping them around and offering a lot of money. And that's also interesting because for the owners of the clubs, of the smaller clubs, that's great for them. Getting like 40 million for Traore, that's cash into the pocket of the owner. 40 million cash. Hard to say no to that. So I'm not expecting the smaller teams to keep hold of those players. I'm expecting the bigger teams to pick that up earlier. Yeah, screw Inter.
Yes.
And make those moves before they go to the Premier League. And those players won't come to you for a 7 million contract or anything. Just look at Lucatelli, Tonali, and their likes. They're coming in for a small salary at the beginning and try to earn their bigger salary, as opposed to like Rafa Leao or Dusan Vlahovic, who already want a high salary. So Italy are far behind, and we're already starting to lose talent. Like you say, the bleeding needs to be stopped ASAP.
Yeah. Now, to George's point here, I did not say that they have close-knit ties. I said that, in my opinion, the top three clubs in Italy, it's important for them to do that and have those ties. But if we think back to Inter, one of their strongest sides, I think they only had like 2 Italians on that when they were winning a lot. And that was embarrassing. And I criticized them heavily for it at that time.
But they do have Bastoni and
Right now they've got what?
Coach
Barella,
Barella, Di Marco is great. I'm sorry,
Di
he's a great
Marco.
player. They have some Italian players that are, national team worthy.
Yeah. Juve's moving quickly and kind of in that direction, and I'm not against it. I mean, if we're bringing Rovella back next season, we still have Ranocchia amongst the ranks. I'm all for it. Now, as we wrap things up, and it looks like Anthony's back in business.
Got the dial up fixed,
Seems
man.
all good. Seems all good. Salernitana today. So
All right.
I've been getting, I understand what's going out there with fans. It's hard to get confident in a team that's rather inconsistent. We have problems scoring goals, but
What do you mean?
We're going to tackle this one. Salernitana.
We're 100% in our last game. We're on a 1-0 streak. What are we even talking about here?
A 1-0
100% winning streak.
A 1-0 streak. All right. Take it easy. Odds. Salernitana paying 5.5 to 1. Draw pays 4 to 1. And then Juve winning 1.5. 1.5 times your money.
I'm not going to say I'm going to put money on a draw, but this is
Juventus
a away game, right?
obviously coming off, again, the defeat to Monza, which was turmoil. Responded with a 1-0 victory in the Coppa Italia to Lazio to advance to semifinals. As far as Salernitana goes, they are going to have they're going to be missing some key defenders for them. Okay, Gomber and Fazio not going to
No
be
idea who
there.
they are.
Probably late February for their return. Salernitana
cares?
is probably going to play the same lineup that they just played against Lecce, in which they won 2-1. They also changed shape against Lecce to a 4-3-3.
How do you
Some are
even know
saying
this?
they'll keep it 4-3-3 against Juve. If they do, I think that is a major advantage for Juventus, especially if we're going to line up 3-5-2, which all signs right now are indicating 3-5-2 from Juventus.
There's a question for you. Hang on, before you keep going. There's a question for you. People were saying yesterday, or I think he was actually asked in his presser, Max, about changing formation. Like, why wouldn't you go with a 4-3-3? You got everybody ready to go, and he said no.
He said the hypothesis of the trident is there, and I've thought about it, and left it at that. That's all he said.
Yeah,
So-
he's been saying it for the past 3 conferences, so he's alluding to it, but he hasn't shown it yet.
I
But
have to
don't we
say-
have a healthy lineup for it? It isn't everybody who could play
do.
in that
You-
healthy.
Listen, I have
We
to say
absolutely do.
it's funny when, again, I'm not using this to knock or rag on Max in any way.
Right.
Everyone knows my thoughts, but it is funny when you struggle and you say any team that's missing 5 key guys is going to struggle. And then, well, you have the opportunity to play them
It's right
together
there.
and you're not. So I don't want to hear that nonsense come out again that, oh, we don't have so-and-so, we don't have so-and-so, we don't have. Look,
What's our
you can play
schedule?
that trident and you're choosing not to. So I say Salernitana is a good matchup to at least explore.
Perfect.
Even if it's a 3-4-3 and not necessarily a 4-3-3, like this is a game that you could probably experiment. But again, he's going to tell you that it's a hostile environment and we're playing away from home and it's difficult to win there and all this. Look, whatever. If you feel that way, that's cool. I get it. And it's part of like sports and just how we're trained to think that always playing away from home in Italy is challenging and difficult, whatnot. Yeah, you'd rather play at home, but this team's been playing away from home for about a season and a half now, maybe 2. So
That's correct.
We should be road warriors, if anything, with what we've had to deal with. So again, I'm not going to take that, but it is. Continue. Additional absentees are Pasquale Mazzocchi and Maggiore for them. It's
like pizza makers.
being led that they're going to play 4-3-3. Ochoa, Zambia, Ikong, Braun, Bradaric, Koulibaly, Boynen, Vilhena, Kandreva, Piatek, and Dia for them. So
Thank God
4-3-3.
you're here, because
That's gonna
I wouldn't
be-
know any of that shit.
That's going to be an advantage to Juventus. Okay, them playing in a 4-3-3. I still am shocked if they do that, but if they do, we have exactly. We have to flood that mid. If we're playing 3-5-2, which we want to, we should be controlling this game start to finish. Salernitana historically has played 5 at the back. They shifted for one game where they played a 4-5-1. My God, they had 6 in defense as a wall in that game and still got pumped. Okay. So I don't want to hear any of this stuff about hostile environment and this team and everything like that. I don't want to hear any of that. Get the job done. Okay.
Just get it done. Just get it done.
Yeah. For Juventus, we know Bonucci's out. Milik's going to be out for a while. Pogba, it's all the same as Max says. We are waiting for Pogba. Hopefully the Europa League games, he's back in there. For us, it's expected Szczesny, Danilo, Bremer, Sandro, Quadrado, Fagioli, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Vlahovic, and Chiesa. That partnership continuing on. We said too early in the first one to really judge them, so let's wait and see. Key stats. Well, winless in last 4 Serie A games for Juventus. Juventus have conceded 2 goals in their last 3 matches in Serie A. Juventus have scored at least 2 goals in their last 3 matches against Salernitana in all competitions. And Salernitana was on a 7-game winless streak just before edging out Lecce 2-1. And Salernitana could jump ahead of Juventus in the table should they get the job done today. But
I
are
can't
we
even believe you had me to
anticipating
say
that? Let's talk about our predicted lineup. and what you guys think about it. So I think I've got her here. Yes, I do. So we talked about it. Szczesny, Danilo, Bremer, Sandro, Kostic, Rabiot, Locatelli. One saying Moretti, one saying Fagioli. And De Sciglio is actually going to be on the right over Quadrado is the latest news that I just got with Chiesa and Vlahovic. What do you guys think? Is there
saw Di
some
Maria
changes you would like different?
I saw Di Maria as
both
well.
from Albanese and Agresti. Pro Bowl was having Di Maria in it.
Yeah,
and
I've seen them both. And like I said, Quadrado, I've seen De Sciglio.
I absolutely
Omer?
hate it. Hate it. I mean, we played on Thursday. Now it's Tuesday. I love Champions League night. And I mean, the Sciglio, what's the point of, having this long to rest before a match and postponing it to Tuesday if we are going to play again guys who are obviously not ready and just didn't perform whenever they got the chance? I mean, you rested enough. Your next game is on Sunday, so you still have enough time to rest, and you still have to play the Sciglio. You still need to bench Chiesa. I mean, come on. I look at that lineup and considering, let's say, it's Miretti and not Fagioli, I hate it. I don't think we're going to win with that lineup, and we've proved it a few more times this season. So I would have done things a lot differently.
Are we resting players for a game that's 4 days away at home against Fiorentina? Like I'm just sort of echoing just adding on to what you're saying, Omer. I don't really understand it. Like maybe the De Sciglio for maybe Juan's not 100% ready to start. Okay. But there's no reason why Chiesa isn't starting games.
I mean,
and it can't be because we have to rest him for Fiorentina.
He always talks about we have to win game by game, blah, blah, blah. But the lineup doesn't show the urgency to win from Max. These are not your best 11. You don't have a midweek game or anything. It's just, fairly comfortable with the days between matches. That's someone who I don't know what's behind these decisions. Yeah. That's someone who doesn't want to win. That's someone who wants to get and it's not like we're playing Milan and, you have to be careful or our next game is a tough one. It's just some random lineup that Max drew up, which makes no sense.
Why not throw Chiesa, Di Maria, and Vlahovic out there and just go?
You could do a 3-4-3 and pull one of the midfielders out. I'd be fine with any combination in that pivot if you had, say, Rabiot and Locatelli, or you wanted to do Locatelli and Fagioli. I'd be fine with either one of them. It is Salernitana, for Christ's sake. We have to be serious here. But De Sciglio, for me, my God, I'm sorry. Even if Juan can give you a half hour, you start that half hour and you go from there. This is De Sciglio is just I've run out of words for De Sciglio. And especially I saw the last one. He gets into the lineup. Nobody even knows what the hell's going on with De Sciglio for months and months and months. And he just gets in there like that instantly. We have the guys that Max has been using as this reason for struggles early on. And he has them fully available now. For the first time, all three of them fully available. I've thought about that hypothesis. The trident. Yes, I've thought about it. Okay. Then don't bitch about it at the start of the season that you don't have that available, and then you get it. And we see the same thing we've seen throughout the struggles. It's wild to me. This is a perfect game. Salernitana is the perfect opponent, home or away, to try to find something that is going to work and get those three guys firing. To me, this is
it's never been a case of players on the field, right? From the games we lost this season, it's always been tactics and mentality. Teams knew how to win regardless of the players they have available or not. Now I have an interesting question for you. If you have to put one face on this whole, let's call it mini banter era of Juve. One player who will be the face of it. It has to be the shitter, right? From, I don't know, 2019 to now.
The fact that, yeah, we're talking right now in this moment that he's starting at wingback. The fact that he's even around Juventus this long is wild to me.
That's a good question.
Deschilio,
Sandro?
my mind was made up the second Max had to sub him out in a game in like 15 minutes and put out an old guy that still came out and showed Deschilio up because Max didn't want to start him. He started Deschilio, and Deschilio fell flat on his fucking face on a Champions League night. And lo and behold, I believe it was Lichtsteiner came into the rescue at the ripe age of whatever the hell it was at that time, close to my age now. He was done for me at that point. If it's 15 minutes in a match and a manager like Max, who gives the longest of leashes, had to bail you out and pull you out of there, that's it for you, man. That's it for you, and that's it for Juve. It shouldn't have gone beyond that point because the rest of his showings after that were never better. So he'll stick to this Roma thing and that goal, and that'll be his highlight for Juve, and we end there. Now, before we get to, well, I guess we should get to predictions. I want to let everybody know now's your chance to get Storm the Barn questions in here, okay? And then we'll tackle those. Prediction time, and I'm going to ask everybody in the chat, too, to let me know. Last time, Coppa Italia against Lazio, I went with the first time in a long time predicting a loss. If you're superstitious and think I need to keep these reverse predictions going, let me know. But if you want my straight up prediction, I'll give you that too. But let's get into it. So who wants to kick us off on predictions?
Okay,
I don't have anything written down, so I might as well go first.
Okay, Ants, go.
I'm going to go 2-0 Juventus. I'm going to say both goals come in the second half. So 0-0 at halftime. I'm going to say that both goals come from midfielders. So I can't name them, but I'll say both goals come from midfielders. And 8 corner kicks.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
So
you want to go with a draw, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm going to
make
my prediction here.
Crossed my mind.
So
like a freight train.
Oh,
usually the last time I called a loss and we won.
And I gave
and
you
Michael Razzo does not want me to keep the reverse predictions going, so I won't do that. And we spent a big time talking about this lineup and how it looks nonsense. And that will probably amount to goals for Juventus. So I'm going to say 3-0 Juve victory today. So 3-0. I'm going to say that there is going to be 9 cards in total in this one. 9 cards. The last time we played them was 11 and a couple reds. We remember what went down. That was a wild finish there. I'm going with 9 cards total.
Who's the referee? Wait.
Good question.
Wait.
He's anti-Juve. And
Antonio.
Then we are going to get to, I will say, Vlahovic gets a brace. So 9 cards total and a Vlahovic brace today. So 3-0. That's mine. Now, Omer, jump in.
I'm going to go with a tight 2-1 Juve. Very tight. Very tight. Like we'll get our goal in 18th minute plus. And I think they're going to score first. And one more tiebreaker. Let's go with, I'm calling Vlahovic goal today.
All right.
He needs
We
it.
got them all in. I'm looking at the live chat. We've got Dell's coming in here with a tight 1-0 Juve victory. Got Leo saying 2-1 for Juve, Chiesa and Di Maria. Goal scorers. Suarez going with an absolute smash.
Madness.
5-2.
Okay. So here's some information on the referee. He's reffed. He's 37 years old, so a young guy. He has refereed 19 Serie A matches. 19.
How many cards did he dish out?
He's given 9 red cards and 8 penalty shots.
Yes.
Classic.
So he gives 5.2 yellow cards per game. So
Wow.
Hey,
that's a lot.
how you
That's
like
something
he's
we
done
don't
94
do.
Serie B games.
baby? 9 cards coming.
Right? He's done 94 Serie B games. So Salernitana, and I know this is kind of like an odd thing, but Al, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you know a ref, like Salernitana has probably seen this guy lots in Serie B, so they probably know. Right, refs have tendencies, so I'm sure they understand his tendencies better than Juventus does. So the 9 yellow cards probably a good call.
Yeah.
Probably a good
Oh
call.
yeah.
Like when
Well,
a
like I
ref
said, last one
gets on
was
his nerves.
insane too. So yeah, I think it'll be along the same line. Prediction 3-1 for Michael Rouse. Juve to score 2 in the second half. Oh, following someone else's lead. Salernitana to score first, and oh my God, that sounds very familiar. We tied before half, 55-45 possessions, 4 yells. Goal scored Dusan, Chiesa, Fagioli. 8 camera shots of Allegri yelling. That last one cracked me up. I still laugh about that one when I see the highlights. He is shrieking, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. What do you think about it? Is that
About
like
what?
about his reaction? You know, sometimes when he does it, it's funny and it's hilarious, and sometimes I feel like it's a bit over the top. Like,
Well,
you're the
hang on.
manager. You don't do a Cristiano Ronaldo and storm out before the game ends. I know he always leaves and, just shake the hand of the other manager and leaves. He doesn't go on the field to greet the players or anything. But that felt a bit exaggerated. Yeah,
I thought it was funny, but here's my
Okay.
thing overall is if you're going to scream and shout, direct them to do differently.
Song? Yeah, there you go.
It's your job. It's your job.
game.
Like it's funny to me, especially in the final third. You have no grounds to scream and shout at guys that are simply freewheeling because they're not instructed to do anything else. So for me,
it's your doing.
you could scream and shout defensively because you're teaching them your setup and what you want to see defensively. But in the offense, when you say, "Oh, you're a complete freedom," then don't flip out at what they do and their decisions.
Yeah. And
Adam.
I will note Salernitana are very leaky at the back. I think they considered like 19 goals in the past 7 matches that they didn't win, and 8 of them were to Atalanta. I mean, they're leaking goals like crazy. They fired Davide Nicola, then brought him back again. They're a bit of a mess. But like always, we're our own worst enemy, and our approach to that game will basically define it. If we let them control, they sneak a goal, go into a defensive shell, and that's it for us. We can't.
Spalletti didn't let him leave without a handshake. Yes, and Spalletti left somebody else without a handshake after facing him eye to eye.
More than once.
I remember that.
I think there's the whole Di Maria thing.
Had a nice call with Anish today. And hoping for more in future. He's calling 3-1 for Juventus. Yes, it was a great chat. And the next time we do call-ins, we'll be having Anish on for sure. And
the whole Di Maria thing when he was getting mad in defense of Max, like you can't give that ball up with that much time left with a team that's like under pressure or wants to put you under pressure. Hold the ball, go to the corner flag. Like that was a turnover that just didn't need to happen. I'm sure he's drilled that into their heads. Don't turn the ball over. Another thing, anytime assist, Kostic is plus 230. Not a bad bet right there.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay, everybody. It's time. We got some time. We're ready for the game and everything. No watch along today again. Work. But let's get some Storm the Barn questions in. First, I'm going to open it up to the panel. Do you guys have any questions? Is there anything we didn't touch on that you guys wanted to? Okay.
I got one.
Fire away.
I got one.
Yeah. Could we Would you put Ealing Jr. on the right, even though we've never seen him there? Would you just try him out there? Like, why not?
Over Deschilio? Yes.
Yes.
1,000 times yes, even if I haven't
was
seen
thinking that. I'm like, why don't we just throw the kid out there? Like,
I'll put a training cone there instead of, at least he won't break the offside trap. But yeah, 100%. I can't see this guy. He's abysmal.
Kostic,
He's
anytime
contributed
assist.
so little in like 7 years at
money.
Juve, maybe more. I mean, that's ridiculous that this guy is still in our roster and still gets minutes ahead of other guys. My question, I had one, and I absolutely forgot it. No one.
Oh, man. Razzo saying, yes, I'd start a pylon over Mattia Deschilio. All right. I feel like I had one as well, and it kind of slipped by. But the chat, usually the chat's on fire with the questions. Is it become that quiet out there for news and everything? I feel like we missed a piece of news too. Omer, you're more in tune with all the news and everything, and I get all my stuff from you guys. So trying to think here. Did we miss anything on the news? Coyote George's obviously close. He's going to be heading to Juve next gen. I wanted to ask you guys, that move in general always seemed bizarre to me, just his whole transfer and everything. But yeah, and here we go. Luca actually coming in with the Coyote George, potentially coming back. I see him just going straight to Juve next gen. And is that right? Would you guys utilize him? And I mean, Milik is out, whatnot. He hasn't played for so long, and that's a scary injury. I don't think I would use him.
No, he's not in the shitty status of coming back from a long injury
No
and
way.
immediately play. He barely played before the injury. I remember one time he was subbed in because of an injury in like the 10th minute and was subbed off later in the game. And we know how Max is with youngsters, so it's good for him to go to the U23, get some minutes under his belt. And one more piece of news is Rugani's house getting broken into again for the third time.
Like, move, man.
Yeah, just
move. Like, what do you live?
Or
you live in the ghetto? Like, move.
Hire some dogs. I mean,
I'm pretty sure we've paid you enough over the years, Daniele, to get some better security, if need be.
Or better house.
Okay.
That's it. We've covered everything else.
Okay.
Over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score. Vlahovic anytime goal scorer plus 374. Place bet.
Okay, it might be a goal madness.
Wait, you didn't cap it off, man. You know what you got to say.
Oh, yeah, you got to book that shit. Book it. Yeah,
Book
there
it.
you go.
The scariest words you'll ever hear.
We might be in for a flurry of goals today that we don't expect.
So,
Bremer's a plus 800 anytime goal scorer.
Do we still trust these youngsters on important games, or should we use them as substitutions in those games? So, do we trust the youngsters enough in important games? Well, Max kind of went away from Fagioli in one of the test matches where we probably should have had him in there. So I don't know if you ask the fan base. I think the fan base will still have faith, but it's still a question mark whether Max will. What do you guys think?
Sorry, I missed the question because
he's just basically asking, do we still trust the youngsters in important games, or should we just be using them as substitutions in those games? For me,
which youngsters
play a part? They could play a part. Like Fagioli definitely is a starter on this team.
Yes.
Like
Ealing Jr. is making a case for being a starter.
Because Kostic has been a mixed bag since World Cup. He's only really put in one good performance. That was against Lazio, and it still left a lot to be desired for me anyways. So Ealing, I think, is knocking on the door for sure.
Knocking on the door, yep.
Yeah, there are some guys who played more than the rest. Fagioli, Miretti, and Sule probably played more than all the other youngsters who had cameos here and there. So I would play them. Ealing, like you said, is knocking on the door. He had a great game against Monza in the Cup, not the one we lost. The rest are just been on and off inconsistently, so I wouldn't trust them to be started yet.
I'd like to, when we do see Miretti, it needs to be out of a midfield role and not one of those attacking support spots. I feel at least that way with him, but I don't think we need to shut the door on Miretti or anything by any means. CJ, does Dushan score today? I called a brace. I called a Vlahovic.
Just put money on it. So
I
he
called
better.
one.
Book it. Book it. Book it, CJ.
Oh, by the way, if DeShilio starts today, he's plus 1,900 as a goal scorer. So bet your ass I'm putting money on that.
If what?
DeShilio, anytime goal scorer is plus 1,900. So a $5 bet wins you $95.
Yeah.
I would bet the world going to shit in 2012 than putting money on the Shilio scoring anything. He has
He'll
two
score.
in
Guys.
his entire career.
Michael Razzo bringing
That's why
this
it's
up. And I
plus
saw this
1900.
yesterday come out too, as Jordan Brennan asked me, would I start pitting in this game? And I had a simple answer. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Do you feel better with pitting in goal over Tech? Is Tech overrated? So
No.
let's start with the first question. Would you start with
Come on.
pitting? Do you feel better with pitting? And second, do you think Tech's overrated? So, Ant, why don't you kick us off here?
I've said it before. They're 1A, 1B for me. I'm with you, Al. Like, I think we should be happy that we have this issue, right? We got one comes in, one goes out. I don't see a drop off from either player. Is Tech overrated? Michael, stop it. All I'm going to say is stop it. He starts for pretty much any club in Serie A and a lot of the clubs in Europe. He's a starting goalkeeper.
I disagree.
Like, what are we even talking about?
Oh,
I strongly disagree. I think he's a
strongly.
mediocre. I think he's a mediocre goalkeeper. I think he had nowhere to advance in his career. I think we couldn't have had a worse drop off going from Buffon to someone like Szczesny.
wow.
It's not to say that he's bad.
That's what you're saying. That's
No,
exactly
it's
what you're
not.
saying.
It's not bad. He's not Buffon level goalkeeper, and nothing could happen with him. So, okay, so fine. He's bad. He's bad by Juve standards and what we've been accustomed to.
My God.
How many
Sorry.
teams go from Buffon's level to another goalkeeper? Like everybody just kind of stays at this level, which is like Tech is just above that.
Good.
Like,
that was good.
Yeah.
You shit on him for like 5 minutes straight. They're like, not that I'm saying he's bad.
not bad.
You kind of are.
He's not like awful, but when you do need your goalkeeper to step up and win
He
you
does.
games, he doesn't. He absolutely is not the guy to do it. He doesn't
Disagree.
communicate with his defense. I think Perrin is better, and I think Szczesny, could have left earlier. Definitely no contract extension, especially when Donnarumma was free on the market.
Does he have another season? He has one more, right? Tech?
Yeah, he has till 2024, I believe.
Right.
Here's the thing for me. They're both starting goalkeepers. They're both starting goalkeepers. This is a non-issue for me, regardless of which one starts. Is Tech overrated? I think it seems that way because he probably, and again, we've seen him so much that we've seen some howlers there and whatnot. And he has those moments, but you're going to find those moments across all the goalies that play that much. And we've seen it with a lot of top goalies. They'll get howlers. Buffon is a different breed. So I don't care who the hell comes in after Buffon. He's never filling those boots. And to this day, nobody else has. And the other names that were supposed to be next to Buffon and some were actually putting above him were not even close and are not even close to standing anywhere near the test of time to even be mentioned next to Gianluigi Buffon. So I will never use that to knock any goalkeeper, regardless. Coming in after Buffon, incredibly difficult. Now, the thing where I start to feel a certain way, and again, I say they're both number one goalkeepers. I'm fine with whoever goes in there. Perrin, at the time when Szczesny was out at this season, came in and the team was starting to kind of build something. I said it at that time, and I stand behind it, that going back, you don't make that change regardless if you see Szczesny as that one, because you're starting to build something. You start to move a certain way. And I'm in no way, shape, or form putting what happened after that on Szczesny and singling him out. But if you've got two guys that are both number ones, and Szczesny is pretty much on the way out. He's got 1 year left in the contract. There
He's
has
gone
been
this
rumors
summer.
about selling him. If I go back at that point in time, and I said it at that time, I probably would have just kept it the same and just continued to roll with him. But is it a problem? No. Is Tech overrated? I don't know, because I rate him as a starting keeper for most top clubs, and that's it. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's by any means anyone comparing him to Buffon, because that's crazy.
No, it's not a comparison. I think it's just going to be another problem to get rid of. I think it will get extended and we'll be stuck with him for a few more years.
If
I
you
don't know,
put
going to
Perin
someone
on
new.
Poland, do they get a sniff of what they did in the World Cup facing that many shots? I don't think they do, to be honest.
Poland
I'd be
is
surprised.
just a bad team. I mean,
Exactly.
and-
But the only
but that-
reason they got a
but that
sniff of
might
anything
be-
in that tournament was Szczesny, flat out.
but
Flat out.
that might be into just saying Chesney is not good enough in organizing his defense, because the credit I will always give to Buffon and to some other keepers, they control the area, they control the back line, so they minimize the amount of shots they can
Our
see
back
that
line has
goal.
looked abysmal even when Perin's in goal, though.
Is it though?
Yeah, we've had similar struggles have been there with Perin as they have
I
with
feel-
Szczesny.
I feel differently. Like, we limited Lazio to only shots outside the area. Maybe it's the defense, maybe it's the midfield, maybe it's Perin yelling and keeping everyone focused. That's what
The
Buffon
first
used to
time we
do.
played Lazio, Perin wasn't in goal, and we did the same
No,
thing.
he wasn't. No, he wasn't, because Lazio are a sorry team. I mean,
Exactly.
blame
So
them
I don't
for
want to
anything.
use that as the be all end all of Perin organizing the
No,
defense,
it's
because
not.
when Szczesny was there, we did the same. We match up good against teams that play 4-3-3 when we're in our 3-5-2. That's why I said today against Salernitana, it would be a huge advantage for Juve if they decide that they want to, in fact, go 4-3-3. I'm just saying, our defense our team in general is inconsistent, man. So I don't necessarily look at Perin and think all of a sudden all our defensive problems go away, because they
Oh
don't.
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he might limit the amount of chance. I don't think Tech is a top level world-class goalkeeper. That's it, and he has nowhere to advance to. I think Perin still
because
has
he's
it.
also getting up there in age and he's going towards the
Yeah,
downward
because of-
spiral of his career. But
Is
because
he
of
on
his
this
age.
roster next year?
Szczesny,
Yeah, I think
if they
I think
find
they'll
a
extend
move,
him.
but I don't think they're going to find a move. So I expect him around
I
to
think
finish up
they'll
his
extend
contract.
him.
If they found a move, that would be great, but I don't think they will.
They have to.
I think they might be trying, based on what I was trying to say when my dial-up got knocked off there. Elkin was mentioning, I don't know if you guys mentioned how he's trying to cut 70 million salary, and you could do that with Rabiot, Sandro, Paredes, Di Maria, DeCilio, I think it was the
Quadrado.
Quadrado was the other one. So if they're trying to shed salary, Michael put on here, he makes 8 million a season, and you got Perin right there, and then they were shopping, trying to get a young backup. So I think there could. Well,
That was a
then
great
again,
question.
we don't have a sporting director, so who the hell knows?
Michael Rasso getting the fire burning there with that one. That was a good storm in the barn. What are the chances we win first European knockout tie since Atletico Madrid? We're beating Nantes. We're going to beat Nantes.
We have to.
I will say that right now, that we will get the job done in
Going
that time.
to and have to.
Hey, Ant, should we book it?
No.
No, you're not feeling confident?
I don't have like the gurgly guts yet. So once I get that, I feel it's not. We got 2 more games. We got to worry about Salernitana and Fiorentina first. Literally have 2 more games to worry about before we get to that.
I think Juve will get the job done there, man. I think they will. If you could pick one Italian for defense, then another for mid, another for forward, who would they be?
3, 1 defender, 1 midfielder, and 1 attacker.
Yeah.
Defender, I would go for Scalvini.
Sure.
He's playing great for Atalanta.
Clown show.
Midfielder, outside the guys we have, it's probably Fratesi.
Yeah,
Sassuolo,
very
clown show.
impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the high time circus everyone wants to watch. And attacker is a difficult one. I think I'd go for Nonto. Nonto, the young guy who already played for the Azzurri.
Where's
Oh,
he?
yeah.
West Ham, Leeds, Aston Villa.
Leeds.
Leeds.
Oh,
I don't have anything to add. Those are literally my
100%
three. Fratesi, I mean, said it way back when he was linked with Juve, and apparently had given his yes that I would be all over that. I like I like how fiery he is too, and Scalvini's been doing good. Question marks on systems. Anytime you get Gasparini guys and they move away, it's always interesting. So Scalvini, do we stay with the 3-man back? Like, I don't know, it'd be interesting, but he's definitely got crazy potential, and there's going to be apparently quite a few teams going in for Scalvini. And the latest I heard on Juve is that he is not top of their targets, and maybe that's a big mistake. So especially when you look at our center back
2
situation.
seasons ago, everyone wanted Lovato, and where is he now? I mean, it changes every season. It changes, and we have new names popping up. Fratesi
He's not
is the one
Salernitana, is he not?
I think he's at Verona. He was at Verona. I don't know where he is now.
Yeah,
Can check
Verona.
on
Yeah,
how
that's
he
it.
is.
I think Verona. Oh well.
I know he was there. I don't know.
Hey,
if
things
he's still
change.
there.
Things change fast. Look at Zaniolo, for Christ's sake. Whew.
there you go.
Talk
Boom.
about a fall from
Yeah.
grace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan coming in. My thoughts on that are just
Who cares?
well,
That's my thoughts.
I always liked Zaniolo. I always liked
Lovato is at Salernitana.
Salernitana. Yeah, I thought so. But Zaniolo, yeah, this is a huge fall from grace. This guy was supposed to be one of the golden childs for the Azzurri and everything. And we know about issues, injury, and then, of course, attitude. Keane was tied into the attitude thing multiple times with the Azzurri and whatnot. And now you have a complete falling out, which is not out of the norm for a Mourinho-led team. You are going to have outs with players. Sometimes
Always.
they're insignificant guys, like you have your Karsdorps, and sometimes they have guys that were supposed to be
Take it easy.
the next big thing, like Zaniolo, and you see it both ways. But I don't know.
Even be Iker Casillas. I mean, he's done it in the past, not only in Roma. He always has fallen out with guys. Zaniolo, I think.
What I find funny is Romanista fans changing their tune drastically all of a sudden. And it's like, come on, you guys.
Romanista fan.
I had a conversation with Chris DeSantis, who's a huge Roma fan.
Great guy.
He explained it from their perspective, and they've got some points. If a player did that at Juve, I would be angry just as they are. But I think for a long time we've been looking for that next Mario Balotelli and pinning that title on several guys. I think that Zaniolo might be it.
Yeah.
Like the talent is there, the discipline, they're growing up and starting to be a real professional. That's where he lacks. That's where Balotelli lacked the most. And maybe it's him, maybe it's going to be Keane. No one knows, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I don't know. But Galatasaray, I tell you what, I'm not going to be following that at all. So
I barely follow Serie A.
He's going to play with he's going to play with Icardi and Mertens. So there are some Torreira. There are some names who've been in Italy for a long while.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see that. But yeah, this has been a crazy week as far as everything goes.
Tuesday.
Just news, and then Zaniolo and Man City, and it's been wild. And amongst it all, we have a game today. Everybody, we are going to finish with this. Hector, thank you for coming by. Say ciao. Drop a like. Everybody, get those likes up on the video. Okay, let's get those likes. We'll finish with this. Michael Razzo, top 3 goal celebrations all time.
Here, let me get this off.
Top 3
like,
goal celebrations.
Like a specific celebration in a specific match?
So
or just...
he likes the horns, Maresca and the Derby della Mola.
Or just an ongoing one like the sea and...
You can do whatever you want. Top 3 celebrations. If it's a constant one that a player always uses that you like, or if it was just moments, whatever.
The violin Played with Fiorentina. What's his name? Not Albertino.
The violin. Oh, Giardino.
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 The violin's a sweet one.
Dude, when Mauro Camoranesi played the corner flag like a guitar was sick.
There you go.
That's one of the top ones. That was just sick. And I love that photo. It was just, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was my wallpaper for a long time.
Yeah, that was such a cool Selly. I love that one. For the moment, Nedved's goal at Stadio delle Alpi against Real Madrid in Champions League and then jumping over the barricade and kneeling down before the curva was like epic. Absolutely epic.
Okay, so let's go with 3 different ones here. One that is a trademark for someone, one that is a rare instance, and one out of Juve.
The violin for me is awesome. Putting them to sleep.
The most recognizable one that I grew up on is Del Piero with the tongue out. That's just...
Let's put that one in there. It's got to be... I always loved Ravanelli when he scored, shirt over the top and arms. Like, it's just, it's cool. It was Ravanelli. It was him. It was him. That's all the time.
Another one.
It was cool.
Yeah, so that's one. A trademark one that I liked. No, a rare instance has to be for me. Mirko Vucinic taking off his pants because there's no rule against it and putting it over his head.
That's good.
And my favorite one outside of Juve has to be Batistuta going.
Batistuta was
favorite one.
One of my favorite. One of the guys I always wished played for Juve. Loved Batistuta.
I think my favorite player ever outside of Juve.
Yeah, man.
Batigol, yeah.
Batigol is huge. I'm trying to think some other Sellies, man. There's been so many. I mean, for the time it was around, the Dybala gladiator mask was killer. It was cool every time he scored. I always enjoyed it. I loved the mask.
If there was one that stands out for me, and I know it's not Serie A, but when Cantona scored that goal when he chipped the keeper from like 25 yards, and he just stood with his hands on his hips and turned around. That was awesome.
Yeah, I like the golf one from Simone Pepe. Always liked it.
Pepe with the golf swing.
Yeah, that was a good one. And obviously,
it wasn't my time when he almost like smashed his own face. That was fun.
Yeah, but he stole that. That's not his. That's Luis Suarez and the diving comment.
Del Piero's the tongue was awesome, man.
I think the only one I haven't watched that is legendary is Marco Tardelli at the 1982 World Cup. I mean, the amount of joy and shock that just poured out of him, I like it. Higuain at that. Every celebration was like a festival. He couldn't believe it. Everything was just pouring out of him. So Tardelli is a very iconic one.
That's a good one.
The one we stole from Inter late, and then Higuain losing it on the sideline, the team just jumping all over him from the sidelines and whatnot. That one was unreal. And I'm pretty sure Max was smiling too.
No, and he was yelling at everybody to get back. He's like, everybody get back.
Yeah, but he was smiling too, which is very rare and whatnot. That was epic, man. Absolutely epic. There's a ton of Sellies, but Buffon, Michael Razzo mentioned Buffon, even him, just watching him in the back, how it shifted sucked. But when we scored the third against Real Madrid and Buffon's Selly was unbelievable, man. I was losing my mind, but awesome stuff. Hopefully,
I would give credit. One more. The one that got him his nickname, King Kong, for Chiellini, bouncing on his chest. Loved it every time.
King Kong. Great stuff. Everybody, we're wrapping up on that. Hopefully, we get some awesome goal Sellies today, all right, to discuss and talk about. And tomorrow on the podcast, we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, wrapping this thing up, and obviously all the news in the aftermath. Hopefully it's a victory to tackle. Everybody, again, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Hopefully, again, it's a victory that we can discuss, all right? Live chat, you guys are awesome as always. Yes, this is a must win. Go out there and win. God damn it.
They're all must win.
Just win. and let's see what happens. We'll see you all back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Ciao tutti, and as always, fino alla fine, Forza Juve.